I love when people say, something told me, or just had a knowing. That's your illogical side in action. You want to listen to that. You want to lean into that a bit more. Welcome to the Real on Manifestation podcast. This podcast bridges the gap between mystical and practical, making manifestation real, accessible, and achievable so you are an embodied, energetic match to actualize everything you desire. I'm Minerva, your manifestation coach and host, and I've manifested every single thing I have ever wanted, from dream homes, new levels of income, trips, clients, businesses, TV gigs, relationships, as well as winning jackpots and contests. But it's not about the tangible manifestations for me. It's about how you feel and who you be on the way to there. With 3 businesses, 2 kids, and marriage to my childhood sweetheart, one of my proudest manifestations is feeling balanced, spacious, and free in my ever-expanding reality. Creating and maintaining your dream life doesn't have to take force, but ease, and I'm excited to guide you through yours. In this space, you'll receive expert insights and proven tools and strategies you can apply immediately to start manifesting everything you ever want. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Real on Manifestation podcast. I know I changed the name again, but there's good reason for that. So I'm going to share why and why that's even important in today's episode. And what we're actually going to dive into is why making illogical choices is your moneymaker. Why is making illogical choices your moneymaker? So it's your moneymaker because when you think about at least the top 3 successful people you look up to, anyone who's made a mark in the world, in the community, in your world, they have followed some sort of illogical path. They followed something that really didn't make sense and they went against the grain and broke the rules. They did things differently. They did it their way. And although they may have followed some sort of path or protocol or steps that they learned along the way, anything big that has been created in this world that you know about came from a person who was told no, was told it's not practical, that didn't do it the status quo way, right? I even think about the Wright brothers. Like, they were told that that's impossible. Like, you can't take a machine up in the air and fly yourself from one area to another country. They were told that's impossible. That's nuts. The light bulb, the person who made the light bulb, I think is Edison, made the light bulb. That's impossible, right? I think Oprah was even told that you will never be a reporter. That doesn't make logical sense based on the time and space that she grew up in. And so any successful person, what they all have in common is that they went against the grain. They broke the rules. They did it their way. They followed the illogical path. It wasn't logical, the steps that it took to get there. It wasn't logical how an airplane could fly in the air, how someone can make millions of dollars, right? It's not logical. It was an illogical path that they took. And it leads to so much more. It leads to, that's when people are like, oh, they're brilliant, they're amazing, they're inspirational. Those people went against everything. They took the illogical path. They made illogical choices, things that didn't make sense. They were pulled and driven by a vision, a feeling, a knowing. Those things are not logical. They're all illogical. They're all intangible. It's all impractical. It can't really be written down or formulated per se, right? It was all illogical. And those things all led to something greater. So my intention for you in this episode is that you trust and believe in that part of you, that illogical part of you, whether that's your intuition, feelings, emotions, energy, your energetic being even, that you see that there's truth to that, that there's evidence to that. And if you lean into that, more, and the more you practice that and lead from that space, you will see so many miracles unfold in your life, in your business, in your finances, in your family, in your life overall. And to start loosening up the strings and letting go of the logical, practical side, because that's going to constrict you. That's going to condense you. And not to say you're never going to use that part of you, like your brain and actions and taking practical steps. Not saying throw that out completely, but what I'm saying, we do need to switch who's in the driver's seat. And we need to start practicing that part of us, the illogical side of us, because that is what's going to lead to abundance and more abundance in every area of your life. Abundance in energy, in money, in peace, in health, in well being, in fun. So that's what I want you to start focusing on today is start making illogical choices because that's what's going to be your moneymaker. So I want to share three examples of how illogic choices have led to money, have led to abundance and more for me in my life. So one time at band camp, um, a few years ago, 4 to 5, 6 years ago, I was teaching at a life coaching school. And so I had somewhat of a set income. I was teaching for about 2 years there and had a set income. I was really good at what I was doing. I was learning and growing, getting better every time. I was really connecting with the students. A lot of the students ended up becoming clients of mine in my coaching practice and going in my group program and hire me for one-on-one. And it's, what you want. You have that stability, you have that paycheck, you have that connection, you're making an impact. But after a while, it started not feeling as good. I started feeling heavy, very restricted. I was just feeling more condensed and noticing like, oh, I noticed that I wasn't looking forward to doing it like I used to. I was like, "Okay, it's gonna pass or whatever." And the logical side of me and also the logical part of everyone around me was like, "Well, no, it's really good for you. Why would you give that up? It's like a good marketing strategy for your business. Look how much you're getting out of it. You get that consistent paycheck as you're running your business as well." So, you have those outside voices as well as your own logical voice being like, "Makes sense that you stay. Just push through it. It's gonna pass." And finally, I was like, "No, I can't anymore." Like, I was just listening to my body screaming at me and my energy, and I was just drained after every call, after every class. And I made the decision. It didn't make sense to quit. So I resigned. I gave in my 2 weeks or actually I gave like a 3 months notice or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but I did give notice. I didn't just like up and leave. And I started making my way out. And just that decision alone, I felt lighter. Now, I didn't have anything set to replace that income, or I didn't have any plan of what was next. It was just my coaching business. I still had some private clients, and I was thinking of I was starting my group coaching program as well. So I had that, and my group coaching program was really igniting me at the time. And so I left the job. It was a little scary too, because you're like, ooh, this income is going, and what's gonna happen after, right? Like that space of not knowing, right? That space of you stepping outside of the zone of comfort is obviously gonna shake up a few things. So I did it, and then within I think my last class was November, and by January 13th, I was taking an advanced coaching class. And in the class, I was doing a meditation, and it came to me to open up my own school. Now, that's about 2 months. When I made that decision, it was very illogical. It did not make sense. It was very scary. It was giving up a lot of quote unquote security and something I set up in my business in my life that was serving me for so long and letting that go into something I had nothing else lined up. I didn't know about the school that I was going to flourish, I was going to birth. And so then when that came within 3 months from that idea, I was like, yes, it does. If you go on my Starseed Academy website, I talk about like I had this meditation and it was like the gates opened up and it says time to open your school. And I did that. And within that time, January 13th to April 1st, website was up, business was registered, it was incorporated, got everything in order, opened the doors April 1st, and I had someone register on the first day. And then I had my first cohort in June. It was full, it was beautiful, it was abundant, it was just amazing, exactly what I had envisioned and was channeled through me. And now I have my school. Like, we're in our 4th year, I think. My timeline is completely off. What year are we in? 2025. So, oh my goodness, 5 years, I think. So, yeah, it was 2020, I think I started. So, that's an example of I made an illogical choice, and it led to this idea and the divine and this idea to be birthed through me that led to so much more that made that makes a great impact still to this day, that we get to work with aligned students and help other people build their own spiritual practices and become skillful spiritual coaches, and the income as well, right? And not only for me but also for someone else. I have Julian, who's an instructor at this time, and him and my assistant, and it's abundant for not just me but for other people, and training other people to build abundant businesses. So that all came from being illogical. And then my podcast, right? So my name, I changed it. And at first I was like, oh no, like, this was the first name I actually came up with my coach Taylor Lee. And I was just like, yeah, but then it doesn't make sense, right? Is it proper English? I even chat GPT it. And it doesn't make sense. People are like, well, maybe you should put the real deal on manifestation or the real truth. And I was like, I guess. And then I was playing with it and humming high. And I'm like, just screw it. And then I left it alone. And then I was like, okay, master manifester, because that's really the idea. Anyways, there was that whole thought process. And then we did the branding, we renamed the link, did all those things, did all the changes, recorded the intro. I was like, this is what it is, shared in my mastermind group. They're like, yeah, I love it. Yeah. And I posted it, and literally the same day I posted, I'm like, no, this is not it. This is not it. And I kept being pulled towards this direction where I wasn't listening to my divine pull, that feeling, that being inside of me, that energetic being or that says and that feels expansive and free. So it wasn't until I was at a retreat with my coach, my other coach, Dustin. Shout out to my coaches. I love them so much. I have 2 coaches right now. It's so funny because I went from like no coaches at all. I don't want to work with anybody for a while. And I went back into this zone, was all being intuitively guided and energetically pulled. And it wasn't until we were doing the work of like my place in manifestation, and we came to my coach was like, you're like the J-Lo of manifestation. You just keep it real and raw. And I was like, whoa, I love that, by the way. So that's my branding. If you haven't checked out my Instagram, I'm the J-Lo manifestation. But I was like, oh my gosh, it made me realize, I'm like, I shouldn't have doubted myself. I told her, I'm like, I wanted my podcast to be called The Real on Manifestation. Why did I doubt it? So it's just so funny. That's going to be a whole other episode, how we doubt our gifts and our knowing and all of that. But from the podcast, I said, screw it, because it felt expansive. It felt light. It felt free within me. And I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And I did it. And I felt so much more excited, expansive, and things start rolling again. And people are sharing it. They're like, yes, yes, yes. And people start sharing about it. I got more people saying, I love your podcast. You just keep it real, yada, yada. And I was like, oh my goodness, these are affirmations. This is a sign that I'm in the right direction. I'm going the right direction. I just got off a summit, and I didn't even ask the host to talk about my podcast, and she was just talking about it. So to me, that shows like making these illogical choices and changes in your life just leads and opens up so much more opportunity, exposure, more that you can give and receive in your life. So that's why I changed it to the real on manifestation, because we're going to keep it real here, folks. And we are all manifestors, but we're just not always consciously doing it. But we're going to make it real and practical, not mystical. So, yeah, that's also evidence of making these illogical choices. So, hopefully, you're starting to think about these things in your life that, oh, yeah, remember that time I did do something that didn't make sense? I love when people say, something told me, or just had a knowing. That's your illogical side in action. You want to listen to that. You want to lean into that a bit more. And here are some tips on how to do that and use this and apply this in your life more and start building evidence and strength and trust around this. So, number one is tune into your body, right? Take something in your life that you're doing, you're working on, or that you want, or something you need to do today, and tune into your body. How does it make you feel? Does it make you feel expansive or contractive? Does it make you feel light or heavy? What feels light and right is my sign of truth. It's true for you. That's what you're meant to do. Okay. It doesn't make sense. That led to you meeting someone, finding a new friend, finding a book that changed your life. This idea that then you follow through and it led to this new job or this opportunity at work or this interview or you were in a newspaper or something like that, right? So I want you to find evidence of when you followed what's light, right? Because you all have evidence of it, you just not have always been practicing it. So even it's micro where like someone gave you a free coffee line because you were just feeling light that day, you listened to something and it activated you, you felt so good in your body and someone paid for coffee for you, or someone let you in through the door or complimented you. Those are all examples of it. You all have evidence of it. So I want you to write it down no matter how small or big it is, because I want you to build a train of evidence, a train of truth of what feels light and right for you. And that every time you followed the illogical part, it led to something more for you. And number 3, you have to choose to practice and play with that, right? So choose to practice and play in that energy, to play in that aspect, within that aspect of yourself, the illogical side. Play at first, because if you're very head focused and you're very practical and logical, then you're going to be like, oh, well, this is kind of scary. So that's why I say just play with it. Play with small things like what I'm going to eat today, where I'm going to go today, what movie am I going to watch? Do I want to take a shower or a bath? And follow that illogical part. And maybe just asking yourself, your energetic being, what am I being called to? What and you're gonna notice whatever answer comes up, it's not gonna make sense. It may be like, take a nap, go for a walk, call so and so. And that will then lead to the next thing that will make you feel more expansive, light, and free and abundant. It's gonna give you. So you can practice and play in that, or just make a conscious choice to be illogical, to make decisions from the illogical state, to go all out, to be delusional if you must. That you're just going to be in that space of what feels good and expansive and intangible, and allow that to lead your life, and then to allow the mind and your body to support that and follow what feels expansive, light, and free for you. So, those are my 3 tips for you on how to lean in to the illogical part. And once you start leaning in, then you can choose when you are ready to lead from that expansive part of you, the parts that don't make sense, that goes against the grain, that will have people raising their eyebrows. But it's your choice to go down that route and to be courageous and to operate from that space, because it's only and always going to lead to something greater. And again, this doesn't take away from, you know, creating safety in your life and structure and security. This is just giving you permission to exercise another part of you that is so valuable and leads to so much more and more of what you want in your life, which is more success, abundance, love, freedom, right? So that's my tip for you. I hope you enjoy that. And if you want to master these aspects of you, master these skills to become a master manifester, my membership, the Manifest Vortex, is the place you want to be. Here's where I help you master the skills as a manifester and to build momentum with the energetic side of you and to embody the energetic side of you, because this is too often put in the back seat when it should be in the front seat. And when you allow that to drive the car in your life, so much is just going to expand and unfold. And so right now we're doing, for a limited time only, a 7-day trial where you can jump into our membership and get access to all the audios and videos, and also our monthly live call. So our next one is March 5th, but we do this monthly, the first Wednesday of every month. And then every week you get a manifestation drop. There's riff requests, there is meditations, there's audios, there's journal prompts, everything, all these tools and skills, wisdom and guidance to help you manifest and pick up speed and be a confident manifester. So I'm going to leave the details below. I hope you all will join us. Sending you all so much love and light. Until next time.